Hello, Laurie, and hello to the esteemed panel and the lovely people out there in the room. Yeah, it's hot in South Africa, and let's try not to upset Adrian today by saying Agile PM is the same as Scrum. Yeah, and then you just see the mist. Oh no! We don't want to upset people. I love. So don't forget, I just gave short and time bio. Yeah, I think echoing what Sarah's saying, it's always been critical. Actually, it's just not all of a sudden now it's critical. It's always been critical, in my opinion. But yeah, the world today is a very, very crazy, fast-moving. You could almost argue VUCA kind of Barney. I'm throwing acronyms out already. Can you believe it? Yeah. So look, it is without doubt because of the nature of change and its impact on us lovely human beings. It is very critical, but it always has been. I think, in my opinion. No. Nah. Yeah, I was just like echoing what we were talking about now. I think that's a very, very good point. It's like change management is now not it's like we assign it to a project to manage the human the impact of the particular project, solution, whatever we're doing. Change management is almost now always on. There needs to be a change network. It needs to be always on, live, and constantly working to cope with what's going on in nowadays, in my opinion. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I think what are the top risks? Well, obviously there's the standard stuff. There's the financial risk of the solution not working because you've not taken into account the human kind of side of that. I totally agree with AI specifically. It's that human mental health, anxiety that seems to be buzzing around constantly at the moment. So yeah, I think there's some of the top risks. The question I'm really interested in is how does change management potentially help mitigate these particular risks as a practice, so to speak? Because with the guys on the panel, we're sitting here going, how can you not do change management? I mean, we're of that mindset, but we all know that many organizations, it's like insurance policy. Yeah, I don't need insurance until it happens, and then I wish I'd have done that. So I'm kind of sitting there going, based on what's happening today, companies really need to start looking at change management as a practice or a competency formally, because we talked about it earlier. AI is, just by the nature of what it is, it's going to be extremely disruptive. And I could argue, if we don't want another AI winter, we need change management. Yeah, it's a sense of humor, a core skill, you think? Yeah. So look, having a sense of humor and being able to kind of go ride with it is definitely in there. But the thing for me is we are all different as human beings. We are all very different, as much as we'd like to think sometimes we're not. And I think the biggest skill for me in professionals is having that ability to understand that and practice as far as you can empathy, using collaborative and good communication and stakeholder engagement skills. Just generally, because it says pretty generally, the ability to work with and communicate and empathize with our fellow human beings is, for me, one of the biggest things. Everybody's got their specific profession and their skill set and what they're trying to focus on. But I think as a generic, if you want to use that kind of T-shaped kind of analogy of a skill set, then yeah, generally more skills like that would help in my experience. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just wanted to say at the end that the other thing as well is everything is interconnected. In an organization, everything is interconnected. So having this ability to have this kind of holistic systemic thinking skill set also tends to kind of help. So yeah, last thing. Okay, so my opinion on this is, I think Janine alluded to it earlier. In the past, we could have had this, this is the person that's change management for this particular project. But now we need what I would term as we talked about it, an always on kind of change model. It has to be federated, especially if it's global. So it's quite easy to have a central global change council or something like that. But then in each region of the business, which has different behaviors, different cultures, different beliefs, different regulations, you have to have those authorities in place. So it's like this, again, this change network and governance structures that allow you to understand those differences and take them into account when you're starting to plan and roll out change activity. Yeah, I also want to ask Janine a question. in addition to this. In your experience, I'm just talking about the clarity from chaos. I mean, one of the big things that I've seen before is people being involved and people getting included in the plan and the planning. And this is what we're going to do. What do you think? So to kind of a lot, chaos reigns. Totally agree. But what's your view, Janine, on getting people involved in the planning and sharing the planning? In addition to what you've said, in my experience, tends to remove that fog almost and lowers resistance and gives a little bit of easiness amongst people. Is that something you've found? Yeah. Yeah, but I want to have this discussion. So we've got a project manager, benevolent dictator, but there's a change manager. So we're kind of sitting there going, who is the benevolent dictator when it comes to the humans? And how, so it's kind of that clash of roles. I mean, what do you guys think about that? Because I would kind of default to say, yeah, the PM of the project's got the overall responsibility, but surely when it comes to the change element of it, there has to be, how does that accountability, how does that decision making work in everybody's experience? I'm curious. Yeah, I know. I mean, okay, I just have something to think about. Okay, yeah, let's move on. Sorry, my bad. I told you not to upset Adrian. Okay, just a comment. In South Africa, we have this, especially in big corporate, we have something called EAP. I'm just curious if the other guys have got something similar in their regions, where employee assistance programs. So essentially, a whole bunch of employees it's like a benefit from an employee perspective. They can get counseling, they can get advice and guidance for them and their families on various kind of issues. And I've seen a couple of organizations now have been bolting that into large scale initiatives that are happening in their areas, where they can call on the EAP providers like psychologists and, change specialists to kind of help them cope with potentially what's happening in the company. So, yeah, I mean, I think we're quite fortunate here. EAP, as we know it, is quite kind of well known here, and it's starting to be leveraged into these kind of realms as well, which I quite like. So it's a start, is my point. It's it's a good step in the right direction. Yeah. Last thing from me on this is I'm going to take it the other way. Has hybrid helped or hindered? Doesn't matter. I kind of agree. Brain's going to do what a brain's going to do, and people are what they are. It's just on the converse, in change management, we've had to slightly adapt and change the way we do the work, but the work still gets done. So I would say it's helped, hindered. I don't think it really matters. It's just on the converse, we've had to change the way we do things a little bit. And I agree with Adrian, company culture. Very quickly, there are many change models around in my experience. Don't use one, use a combination, because some are very high level, some are quite detailed. So definitely have a look at combining models. The best model in my experience currently out today is SIAM. It's like an operating model for an organization, but built into SIAM is a lot of collaboration, communication, OCM by definition of the way SIAM works. Integrate, collaborate, amalgamate. So Mike, go look at SIAM. Yeah. Ditto, Adrian, definitely. I think it's just don't give up. Just keep going, persevere. Without a doubt, because human centricity is extremely important, and organizations need to really dig in and focus on their employees and their human stakeholders. So yeah, don't give in. Yeah, you need to give us at least half a day, you lot. Seriously, come on. How can you restrict people like us to an hour? Yes, man, come on. It's like poking in there. Yeah, I know, we love it. Make it spicy.